Do you know what the C word is? Ah! Easy now, not that word, this word, compromise. Now, by definition, it means to settle a dispute by concessions. But for some really ignorant humps, that's impossible to comprehend.
Let's say you get everything you want. Let's say Trump gets elected. Let's say that you win the House, you win the Senate. I don't want that to happen, obviously. But let's say you get everything you want. You won't get enough votes in the Senate. You'll still have to negotiate a bipartisan compromise. People have got to learn to get back to the basics of legislating and negotiating and working together to solve the problems that the people of America demand that we solve.
That's the guy who replaced George Santos and defeated the next Republican who ran against him in a red district. How did he do it? He reached out to Republicans and said, I get what you're saying about the border and how something has to be done. He then chronicled the problems of building a wall by illustrating the difficulties and the cost of that approach. But then he agreed on ideas that had been proposed by both conservative Republicans and Democrats.
I think James Lankford's been working very hard to secure the southern border, to give the next president, whomever it is, more authority so that we can secure the southern border.
He did what good governments do, conceded this to obtain that. But when the border bill proposed by conservative Senator Jim Lankford didn't even get a vote in the House, he exploded. Not because he didn't get his way, but because a sociopath wouldn't give an inch and even allow a vote.
We had a bipartisan solution by one of the most ethical, honest, hardworking, conservative Republicans in the United States Senate, James Lankford. And we didn't go forward with that bipartisan bill because President Trump and others said, we don't want to give Biden a victory. We want to campaign in the chaos.
Mr. Speaker, I yield the gentleman an additional minute.
Thank you, Mr. Nadler. So they said, we don't want to go forward with that bill because we want to campaign on the chaos. We don't want to give a victory to the Democrats. It's not a victory for Biden or for the Democrats, it's for the United States of America. And for us to move forward as a country, we have got to work together. I see the people up here in the gallery today, people who watch television, they read the newspaper, and they're sick of this. They don't want us fighting with each other. They don't want us with the histrionics and the hyperbole. They want us to sit down and negotiate a settlement.
The art of negotiating is what Trump boasts is his greatest asset. I can sit down with anyone and work out a deal. But that's a lie. In fact, the art of the deal was ghostwritten because Trump is unable to comprehend the concept of compromise because he can never concede or self-deprecate or think of anyone but himself. He's truly a sociopath. And Trump's approach to governing is whatever I want, whatever's best for me, I'm the only one that matters. Mike Johnson, who's hanging on to his role as speaker by a thread, blocked the border bill vote because Trump told him to. Trump wanted to run on the issue of immigration and lie about it being Biden's fault.
Because we're the ones who are fighting to save our democracy, and crooked Joe Biden is the demented tyrant. He's a demented tyrant.
Even though everything Captain Mantitty says is a lie. And despite Trump's lies about Mexicans, Central Americans, and even Africans.
But people are coming from the Congo. Last night, we had 20 people come. Welcome to our country from the Congo. Where do you live in the Congo? We live in prison. Oh, that's right. They released them from prison. I don't think they wanted to ask what they did, but they're coming in from Africa.
Democrats in the Senate recognized the problem and worked with Lankford and crafted a great bill. Stop and think about what Trump did, or listen to Mitt.
Former President Trump has indicated to senators that he does not want us to solve the problem at the border. He wants to lay the blame for the border at Biden. And the idea that someone running for president would say, please hurt the country so I can blame my opponent and help my politics is a shocking development.
Back in the day, there were areas of politics that were called third rail issues, meaning like the electric third rail of the subway, touch it and you die. The first one was Social Security. Then there was abortion. And as divisive and emotional as these issues are, smart people can find compromise. Social Security and Medicare, you can save money by changing years of eligibility, with exceptions are people who really need it. That's a compromise. Or abortion. If they can't agree on fetus viability, we can all agree that stopping unwanted pregnancies is a good place to start. The truth is, compromise might be the most important social skill a person can possess. I mean, I grew up with 4 older sisters and a single mom in a 3-bedroom apartment. I didn't go to the bathroom for 14 years. I'm kidding. But I learned about compromise. In marriage, I guarantee you that anyone who can navigate their way through and around difficult issues has a better chance in marriage as well.
It's very demeaning to women, and I love women more than I love anything. I love women.
Not all marriages, though. Some men choose women they can dominate because it makes them feel strong. But that's the exact opposite of what's happening. Men with multiple marriages tend to be men who will never master the art of the deal because they lack the art and they foobar the deal. Sound familiar?
Just this week it was reported that an illegal alien, and you just look at this.
The problem with Trump is he has taught a whole generation of simple-minded people they can have it their way all the time, that the other side is the enemy and the enemy must be destroyed. When the exact opposite is true. When you cannot compromise, your losses will be absolute and you will become self-centered and narcissistic. I mean, just look at Trump's track record with women, businesses, charities, friends, families, professional relationships. It's all about him. The only time I've ever heard Trump talk about his family is how he would have dated his own daughter.
I don't think Ivanka would do that inside the magazine, although she does have a very nice figure. I've said that if Ivanka weren't my daughter, perhaps I'd be dating her. You know?
Stop it! Oh, it's so weird.
Ew. But Trump and MAGA's position that the Democrats are pedophiles and bloodthirsty killers makes it hard to have a conversation.
I mean, is it going to be true that the child pedophilia in the elites in the Washington, D.C., is that what we're really going to see come out? Is it true? Is the type of corruption we're going to see come out, is it going to be satanic worship that possibly all these people are involved in?
I mean, can you imagine trying to have an intelligent conversation with her? You couldn't. If you did, it would sound like this. And there's always going to be people like Dairy Queen, Lauren, I'll lend you a hand, Boebert.
The church is supposed to direct the government. The government is not supposed to direct the church.
And George Santos, who have no skills or credibility to hold a position in the Democratic Republic. Nonetheless, we persevere.
Do you have no shame?
The border bill collapse represents everything that's wrong with MAGA, but its defeat played right into Trump's pathological personality and his legions of angry, small-minded bigots who would deport every immigrant, and in some cases, black people and Jews as well.
Jews will not replace us!
The biggest pushback on the immigration bill was xenophobia, our fear of anything different. And Trump stoked those fears because that's how you control people, which is a tragedy.
In one of the most stunning acts of political cowardice in recent American history, a bipartisan border security bill co-authored by a conservative Republican member of this committee was put forward in the U.S. Senate. It would have tightened asylum standards to stop exploitation of the asylum system. It would have surged enforcement resources to the border. It would have meant more expedited removals of those who enter this country unlawfully. So all of the performative chest pounding today on border security is utterly disingenuous.
You know, along these lines, Democrats might take note too. And remember those Republicans who joined us in fighting Trump's psychopathic tendencies. Liz Cheney, whose politics are anathema to everything I stand for, has nonetheless earned my heart and my attention. The art of compromise can't be taught until a person understands how to lose, and more to the point, how to learn from those losses. From observing Trump the last 10 years, it's obvious to me he never read Nietzsche. The position of never compromising doesn't make you stronger. Falling down and getting up does.
And we're going communist, don't kid yourself. We don't win this election, this country is finished.
Still, when it comes to Trump, just because he can't manage the C word doesn't mean he isn't one.
Who's with me?
Hi, what's up?
Time to pack it up.
This isn't their Republican Party anymore. Am I wrong? Yeah. Tick-tock.
You're in a lot of trouble, Donnie.
Thank you so much for watching. You know, YouTube frequently penalizes my videos for taking on controversial subjects, hurting our ability to earn ad revenue, which we use to hire more hosts and make more videos. We think it's so important to make these videos now and expose a Republican cult. So please join us on Patreon. The link is in the comments. We literally can't make these without you. Thank you so much. For Really American Media,
I think he's crazy.
I'm Chip Franklin.